Hi friends, another exciting brush video to bring you from Bobo, and a huge thank you to her for the gift. We cannot wait to get into it. First of all, when I first saw the Koyudo collaboration using blue fox hair, I never heard of blue fox hair. I know of silver fox hair, but when I tried this brush for the first time, it feels synthetic, but we'll get into the demos and the close-ups, pre-wash, after wash. But again, a huge thank you to Bobo for the generous gift. Not only did she send me 2 of the Koyudo blue fox hair brushes, but also her new red Canadian squirrel and Saikoho goat hair blush brush, as well as some Koyudo collaboration brushes. I was thrilled to see this one in the package because when I saw Bobo try this brush on her IG reel, I was like, oh my god, the under eye powder nation, as well as these 2 eye brushes also from Koyudo. So we'll get into it, but here are how the brushes look pre-wash, and I think it helpful for you to see how important it is to wash your brushes before use, because then the bristles will finally bloom and it will yield a significantly better blend. I have to start with the Koyudo small polish blue fox hairbrush, and the reason why I look so light on camera is because I wanted to use this with a powder foundation, because Bobo had recommended that you use this with loose powders, with mineral powder, so I wanted to use a powder foundation, and unfortunately Natasha Denona's NP10 is a little light for me right now in comparison to the rest of my body, but it's okay, we'll get through it. I can't begin to explain. The silkiness and softness of blue fox hair is unlike anything I have ever tried. It is silkier than gray squirrel. Well, I have a small eye Kolinsky brush, and there is a higher grade hair that's not coming to mind at the moment. But in terms of softness, it feels synthetic. That's how soft it is. It doesn't feel like a natural hairbrush. Natural hairbrushes naturally have not prickliness, but you can feel the tips more distinctly on a natural hairbrush because they're kept intact. Blue fox hair is unlike anything I have ever tried. It's so silky and elastic that blue fox hair feels synthetic. I'm not kidding. I was just taken aback by how silky smooth this bristle is, but how well it was able to pick up the powder foundation and how it blended it on my skin. Soft, silky, fluid on the blend in a circular fashion, and even tapped some powder foundation on portions that needed more coverage. Incredible. I still can't believe it, even post footage filming, how exceptional blue fox hair is, and I think an exciting new bristle type to enter your collection if you are taking a look at it. If you have tried Saikoho goat, if you tried red squirrel, red Canadian squirrel, silver fox, you gotta try the blue fox hair, because this is unlike anything that I have currently in my collection, and I again cannot be more grateful for the gift. And this pom-pom sized brush is absolutely perfect to buff in powder foundation, mineral foundation, even for finishing. I think it's a fantastic size to take around the cheek region to blend everything together, make sure everything appears smooth and polished. I would say this is an ideal brush for softer powder textures because it is so elastic and soft. It's not going to have the same grab on gelée texture. So I just want to point that out, because this is an exceptional brush. You buy it and you use it with a gelée type of a powder that's hard to pick up, and you're like, oh my gosh, the brush isn't great. No. We have to make sure that we are acquainted with the bristle type and its strengths so we can properly pair it with the right makeup product. And for my experience, what I have used, this is exceptional with softer powder pickup. That's why I chose Natasha's powder foundation, and I would choose different powder types of product in my collection, like the Gucci bronzer, even the YSL bronzer that I will use here with the larger powder paddle brush type. Even if I took a little bit bronzer here, I could just tap it. It virtually just blends the powder without me having to over manipulate it. That's how soft and silky this bristle type is. And again, the way it moves across the skin, and despite its density, it doesn't feel so strong, or it doesn't feel like it's going to over manipulate the powder, the product on your skin. It's just, you get it. I hope so. Now with this guy, this was an interesting experience because of its elastic feel and nature of the blue fox hair bristle. It's not going to have that same blown out fluffy effect as you've seen with Sonia's Tradition series Kakeshibuse. And the only reason I'm bringing that up for context is because it's one of my more recent brush reviews, and I just wanted to keep it with something that was relative, that you have seen already or maybe you have experienced already. Despite its size, the bristles stay intact. They don't separate a lot, and you see that the girth of the brush is here 3/4 and then very flexible on the tip. So I decided to apply my YSL bronzer, and I basically applied it in that paddle-like fashion. I didn't rely the brush to splay or feel like it would deposit powder in a similar fashion like the Tradition Kakeshibu TF1 does for the face brush. This is a unique experience. It was new for me, and I liked it because to have a powder brush stay uniform like this and feel like you're painting on your bronzer or even blush. And I decided to slap on the Suqqu blush also using this brush, and it just kind of pats it down. And I could show you here again. You saw on the demo that I sweeped it with one side of the brush, but because the bristles are so soft and I will wiggle back and forth to ensure you get enough product, you could just tap on, and how it just appears blown out, or you could pull away. You could also go in a circular fashion, but to feel just the entire brush head hug your cheeks in this way, I mean, you can't go wrong with that application. And you can see how the blush appears blown out, despite the fact that I didn't go around like so. I just kind of placed it there. And again, the silkiness. All right, what an exceptional brush. And there are 5 total in the Blue Fox series, because I believe one of these have been recently added to complete the entire collection. No, the angled brush was released on the 12th, and Bobo says here we'll focus on developing the Blue Fox eye brush series. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait for that to release. I am looking at the wedge brush, and the slants, I love a slanted powder brush. My goodness. And it appears that it might have a little more of a fluff feel. It reminds me of Sonia's Face Pro, actually. That's kind of what it's giving me in terms of shape and feel. And my apologies for not mentioning this. I was just taken aback by the silky texture of this bristle, but I'm sure on the close-up you saw the beautifully crafted handle. I mean, the fact that you have this beautiful silver, almost charcoal silver going into the black with the engraved gold dragon. I know. This is simply just a beautiful tool, and something I feel that needs to be displayed, because aesthetically, you just can't beat this. The fact that the Blue Fox hair takes on this gorgeous silver to black gradient naturally occurring on the bristle itself, and then to be paired with this gradient handle. So you have Yoshiki on one side and the dragon etched on the other. And just look at the detail, how small it is, but look at the detail of the dragon. Can you even? I know you can't, neither can I. But we'll move on. I know, because I'm gushing and I could over gush. Let's move on to the Koyudo Red Canadian Squirrel and Saikoho Mix Blush Brush. To have a round blush brush of this size, I think unique. And the fact that it's not that it's long, I just like the fact that it's slightly tapered, but still has that round dome shape at the tip. The ferrule is round, and you have just not only great fluidity on the circular blend, but you also have that uniformity. There's not a lot of splay, but it's not overly dense where you would feel it's going to move your powder, foundation, or even anything you choose to apply your blush on top of. That won't move with this blush brush. And I had to compare it to Sonia's TF2 because I immediately thought of Sonia's brush when I saw the Koyudo blush brush in terms of a similar size. This is basically just smaller, and you get a little more fluff here and splay from Sonia's. Bobo's Yoshiki collab blush brush, you definitely get splay as well, but it's a little more uniform in terms of its fluidity on the cheeks. And I wanted to follow Bobo's example where she she had said this is an exceptional brush to use with the Suqqu blurring powder blush, and I'm like, well, I have that too, so let me just do the same as Bobo. And the way this brush whips powder on my cheeks like it's nothing, it's incredible. And I love the fact that it is smaller, because I followed up with the YSL bronzer and decided to just have a little more concentration of color into the hollows. But because the brush is still soft, the blend appears diffused. It doesn't appear tight or overly concentrated there on the hollows. It was able to move the product well, where the edges appeared smooth, diffused, and just airbrushed on the skin. I love that I have both now. I think they serve different purposes. If I wanted more of a blown out application of blush, I could use Sonia's TF2, but this also is just beautifully concentrated. And again, I love its size, and if you want it, you could go under the eyes if you wanted. And for those who frequently wear powder contour, this will be fantastic for your powder contour products, because it's small enough to get into the hollows, but also has enough movement to blur the edges out when blending. And I enjoy Bobo's cocktails. She is fantastic in mixing and matching, and the blush brush here is Red Canadian Squirrel and Saikoho Go. High Premium Saikoho Go is beautifully soft, but has fantastic pickup. I think that combination is great, especially if you have those blushes that are a little harder to pick up. They're not gelée, they're still powder, but they're like harder pan powder. That brush is gonna pick it up. And now we have the flat heart-shaped highlighting and setting brush that Bobo collaborated with Master Yoshiki. Ooh, this, when I saw Bobo use it under her eyes, I was like, oh my goodness. And that's what I did here with my Suqqu blurring blush. Yes, it is a blush, but I have been using it with setting powder. Beautifully soft, and it is exactly that, the heart shape that fits effortlessly here under the eyes. And because it's a paddle brush and flat on both sides, the tip can just fit right under your lash line and still feel soft there. It doesn't feel pokey or feel stingy. And you could also take this smaller brush around smaller regions of your face that need light setting. This is the brush that one would rely on for setting, but they're not one to bake or to just pile on loose powder on their face. This is just for light application of loose powder where you need it, and the brush is small enough to tackle those smaller spaces on the face with precision, but will also blend the product beautifully and won't plop on so much powder that it will appear heavy on the skin. I thought also to try this with a gelée type of a gig, and that's why I picked up House Labs highlighter, specifically the Bio Radiant Gel Highlighter in Peach Quartz. And I made sure to wiggle the brush back and forth to pick up appropriate amount of product, and it slapped it well on my cheekbones. Now, the reason you don't see it here is because the Bio Highlighter is on the drier side. I do need a little bit of emolliency, so allow me to do just that. I'm taking my Dior Star Filter and just lightly tapping here on the cheekbones in order to get a little more grab, right? Oh, this product is just exceptional. And now we'll grab our Yoshiki brush and wiggle back and forth and lightly tap here where I applied the highlighter. And the reason why I would recommend that you either spritz your face first or apply a liquid highlighter as I did here with something like the Bio Highlighter, because since it is so reflective, it is naturally going to be a drier consistency and will not adhere well to drier skin. And I had nothing on before I applied it the first time. And the reason why I would suggest you do so is because when you buff, then something will be left behind. Versus when I buffed without applying the Star Filter first, I basically just buffed away the highlighter. Again, because it didn't have anything to adhere to. But now we're good to go. And I'm happy I was able to demonstrate that here on camera, just so you can see how this brush is versatile for setting, for highlight. You know what? You could even use it for those topper blush moments, maybe from like the Hourglass palette, just to tap it here lower on the cheeks as well as higher on the cheekbones to create that gradient effect with your highlighter in various colors and whatever you got in your collection. Okay. And now we've arrived to these beautifully crafted Koyudo eye brushes, which, you know what? These are one of my more unique eyeshadow brush shapes. 100%. Arrowhead brush that I thought of just now, the Smith brush. I remember when Smith brushes were just heavily circulating amongst the popular beauty YouTubers like in the 2000s. Everybody was using that arrowhead brush, and now to have a true, my apologies, that is so dirty, but you probably saw in the cleaner B-roll, to have a truer arrowhead brush made with premium Saikoho goat hair. Because this is the thing. You see the shape and you wonder, well, I could only use that on my lid for lay down color. I'm not entirely sure if this video will go up before my Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette, but I wanted to use Makeup by Mario's Ethereal palette, or Ethereal Eyes palette, which kind of reminded me of I Need a Warm, but this has like one or two more cooler shades. It's kind of like if you combine I Need a Warm with I Need a Nude and got this. But if you were trying to save money, and maybe I made that comparison in the video, but I don't know. I'm just talking in the future, so ignore what I'm saying. I'll probably just put some text next to me to correct myself. All that to say, I wanted to use this palette with the Koyudo eye brushes, and let me tell you, it could be a testament to Mario's matte formula in the palette. Yes, to use this brush in a way that was unfamiliar to me, but I still managed to nail the eye look without using another brush. I just used these two for the entire eye look, and I took that medium caramel shade, plopped down the powder on my outer lid first, and used the tip of the brush to lightly fluff the edges into my outer crease, and then this is where the brush shines. You could go from crease fluff to lower lash line fluff with the same brush. That was when I was like, ding, this is the one. We love a multifunctional eye brush that could take you through the majority of your eye look. And the way, again, because you have the taper here, the way the brush is designed, it will just naturally fluff that powder where it needs to go, and it will keep it where you need it to stay, especially if you have smaller eyes, but you needed that small tip just to be a little more precise with the crease blend. Oh my goodness. And you could turn the brush on its side like I did here on the footage in order to buff that color through the crease in a manner that looked like I used a traditionally designed crease brush, but it was this guy, and it's soft, but it's not so flimsy. All right, that it just kind of gets knocked around through the crease and gets lost in there. No, it has beautiful pickup with the eyeshadow powder, and it moves it well. My goodness, I still can't believe I got this blend from that brush. And then I moved on to the smaller arrowhead brush and decided to plop on the darker brown shadow in a similar fashion as I did with the larger eyeshadow brush. And again, phenomenal results just by tapping the eyeshadow powder on the outer lid and then fluffing it lightly in a stroke-like fashion just to help the shadow move and appear soft and diffused on the edges. And then I took that same powder under the lash line, maybe 3/4 of the way in. Use that same smaller eyeshadow brush to plop on the shiny shade on my lid as well as on the inner corner. Now, I could only imagine if you were into just the one and done eyeshadow shades, like something from Suqqu or from even Vizio or from Natasha Denona, you could take the larger arrowhead brush, use the base of it to plop on as much shadow as you need on the lid, and then turn the brush on its side to finish the edges. Use the same brush to take that same shadow, lower lash line, and because you have this tip, you could use it to apply your highlighter on the inner corner of your eyes and just use the same brush. This surprised me because when I saw the shape, I was like, interesting. I love arrowhead brushes, but because of what I experienced with the Smith brush, I know, shame on me, I had my expectations not set, but they settled into like, okay, maybe this brush will act like whatever. No, I should have known. I should have known, given my experience with Fude, that to have an arrowhead brush made with premium Saikoho goat hair, the pickup phenomenal, the blend outstanding, and the finished product. I mean, you could see on the close-ups just the fact that this eyeshadow look, I think the blend is fantastic. I mean, you let me know down below. But from what I can see, and the fact that we just got this amount of eyeshadow. This palette is phenomenal, by the way. I keep forgetting what a staple this is. Just beyond pleased with these eyeshadow brushes. And I think I want to challenge myself also and bring just these two along for the ride when I have my shoot with Stretch It Out this week. Now, yes, I think one of the limitations could be if you wanted to do the eyeshadow liner, this is a little too soft in my opinion, a little too soft and not as precise because it's not dense enough and it's too fluid to create more of a precise blown out line on the lash line with shadow. I would then use a smudger brush like from Sonia or a smaller pencil brush. So that is a limitation, but if you don't really do that anyway, and maybe you'll just bring along a separate small pencil brush like I would bring those two brushes and a smaller pencil brush just in case if I wanted to draw on some black coffee and wanted to smudge it out. That's it. But these two are really all I need for the majority of my eye look, 100%. And that is it. That is what we have from our Bobo dough package, and I can't thank her enough for the gift. I am just grateful for these beautifully crafted tools. I can't get over it. I just wish I had better display options. I put them in my drawer, in my acrylic drawer, so they don't get any dust, and I have them standing and I make sure that they're not too packed in so the bristles don't get misshapen. Maybe I just gotta get rid of more makeup so I can make room for my brushes, my beautiful tools, my brushes. And some of you had mentioned when the Sonia G Traditions series collection dropped that you recently purchased Bobo's Chikuhodo collab Silver Fox Hair and Saikoho Goat Mix brush because she had a restock, and I get it. Okay, that I have that brush too, and oh my goodness, it is just exceptional. Let me know if you have any of these brushes from Bobo, what you plan on purchasing, what you plan on purchasing in the future. Maybe you have a building wish list that you would like to share down below, or if you need more insight on comparisons, I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you for making it till the end. If you like this video, maybe click the thumbs up, maybe subscribe and see more brush videos coming, because you know it's gonna happen. And until then, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.